we are removing certain portion of the input. Mathematically, if you see, we are subtracting. We are subtracting from the input waveform. Now, in general, clamping means we will give a English word like we are going to climb a mountain. We are clamping the step. Means you are reaching a certain height. Means here we are adding something. So let me tell you what do you mean by clampers first. Let me give a definition of what do you mean by clampers. These are the electronic devices. These are the electronic circuits that are used to add a certain DC level. What we are doing? We are adding a certain amount of DC level. To whom we are adding? To AC input. As per what? As per our requirement or as per your user requirement. User will tell something. This is our requirement. To whom will tell? He will tell to the developer. He or she will tell to the developer. This is our requirement. So clampers are nothing but these are the electronic devices, electronic circuits which will add a certain DC level to your AC input as per user requirement or as per the requirement to get a desirable output signal. Those are nothing but clampers. Now what do you mean by clamping? Adding a certain DC level to your AC input, that is nothing but clamping. That process is called as clamping. Now what I am telling, we are adding a certain DC level. When you see mathematically, focus here, 4 plus 2, how much? How much it is? 6. 4 plus minus 2, how much it is? 2. What I am telling is that we are adding a certain DC level. We are adding, we are not subtracting. We are adding certain amount of DC level to your AC input to get a desirable output. It may be any kind of output that is given by the as per the user requirement. Understandable? Means now in the clampers, based on that we have two types. Either you will add a positive DC level, either you will add a positive DC level, or you will add a negative DC level. Understandable? Either you will add this positive DC level or you will add a negative DC level. Based on that, clamper has been divided into two types. Based on what? Either you will add a positive DC level or you will add a negative DC level. It may be a positive input waveform or it may be a negative input waveform. You are adding it. Keep in mind you are adding it. And based on this only, clampers has been divided into how many types? Two types. Those are nothing but negative clamper, positive clamper. Negative means, as the name itself suggesting you, we will add a negative portion of the input. Positive means we will add a positive portion of the input waveform. Understandable? Clear? Now whatever the diagram here I have drawn, this is negative clamper. Clamping means climbing. We are reaching a certain level, certain height. We are adding a certain amount of DC level. Either you will add a negative DC level or you will add a positive DC level. Based on that, you will get a required output, desirable output. Till now I am not drawn the output. While explaining, while after giving an equation, I draw the output. Understandable? Say so. Clear? Now it's a negative clamper. How your diagram should start? The diagram should start with the positive anode of the diode, and this is negative. And here we have a capacitor, right? A resistor should be always connected to limit the flow of current. A resistor should be available across a diode because maximum amount of current should not go to the diode. A resistor will limit the flow of current. It will protect your diode. That's why we will always preferable, it is suggestible to connect a resistor across diode. Yes, don't write, focus here, concentrate here. Understandable? Say so. Now let me explain you how this negative clamper will work. Let me go to the operation. What will happen? So during, focus here, during first quarter, what I am telling? This is quarter, this is half. Say sir, this is quarter 1/4, this is 1/2. Say sir, this complete will be half, half means 1/2. So during first quarter of positive cycle, whatever the capacitor available here, it will get charged. This capacitor will get charged. When you are giving the input of first positive quarter cycle, first quarter means this up to here. When your input reaches or when your input become first quarter, this capacitor will get charged. Up to what value? The capacitor will get charged up to a maximum value of Vin. What is the maximum value of Vin? What is the maximum value of input voltage? Vm. What is that? Vm. So your capacitor will get charged to a maximum value of Vin. That is equal to Vm. Understandable? When your input cycle becomes first quarter, that is positive cycle, 1/4, 0 to Vm, then your capacitor will get charged up to a what value? Maximum of input voltage, or maximum of input voltage is Vm. So I can write Vc is equal to Vm. I will tell you, this capacitor charging is instantaneous. What will happen? This capacitor will hold that value, that voltage value Vm, for a long time period, because it has a characteristics large time constant. I will tell you a real time example. The TV remotes of you, which has a cell, that is a battery, which will last for the expiry date is 1 year or 2 years. But its value, it will holds a value of 5 volt. Say sir, it will be long time, durable, many days durable. Like that, the capacitor has a characteristics that is nothing but large time constant. Now this value will be stored in your capacitor for many days, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. The same value, the constant, this value will be available in your capacitor. It will be stored for long time duration. Understandable? Just like a battery of your TV remotes are which you play the games for cars or video games. That holds 5 volt for how many days? For 6 months or 1 year. Like that, your capacitor will store the value of maximum value for a long time duration. Because this capacitor has a characteristics that is large and constant. Understandable? Say some. Now when it becomes positive half cycle, what will happen to your diode? If it is a positive half cycle, what will happen here? Positive to the positive, negative to the negative. Say some. Positive to the positive, negative to the negative. What will happen to the diode? Diode will be under forward bias condition. And when your input voltage decreases from here to here, now input voltage become on negative half cycle. What will happen to this diode? Negative to the positive, positive to the negative, negative to the positive. Diode will become reversed. So the capacitor value will be Vm only. Your capacitor value will be a Vm only. That is for long time duration. Understandable? Got the idea? Say some. Sir. Now what we need to do? We need to find out the output. We need to calculate the output. So apply a KVL Here. What is KVL? Kirchhoff's voltage law. So V out will become, what is this? V in. This diode will hold the value of this capacitor, the voltage value. What is the value here? Vc. Vc is equal to what? Vm. So V in, what will become here? What will write next? V in plus or minus? Plus. Sure. Why plus? I am coming like this. Plus minus. V in minus Vc. That is equal to V in minus. What is Vc? V. Keep in mind, in real time, capacitor will store certain information. I am telling real time example. What is the work of capacitor? It will store certain information, data. Here our data is charge. Our data is what? Charge. Our data or information is what? Charge. It will hold the value of what? Voltage. That will up to what? To maximum value. That is for long time duration. Understandable? Clear? What is our output now? V minus Vc, V minus V. Clear up to this? Say yes or no? Say yes or no? Yes, sir. Now you have an input. If you know input, you can calculate output. Just substitute the values of input in this equation. Consider this as one. Focus here. I will draw the output now. If my input is 0, what is your output? If my input is 0, what is your output? Minus Vm. Just substitute the values here. There are 5 values you need to substitute in this equation. Listen here. 0, maximum Vm, 0, minus Vm, and again 0. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have kept a dot there. First value is what? 0. If your input is 0, what is your output? Minus. My input is 0, my output is minus. Put the dot here for understanding the output. Now my input becomes maximum Vm. What is your output? 0. Your output will be 0. So here, from here, put a dotted line. I have already drawn. My output is 0. Again my input becomes 0. What is your output? Minus Vm. My minus Vm is here. For this, again my input become minus Vm. What is your output? Minus 2Vm. Good. This is your minus 2Vm. Minus 2Vm. Huh? Say sir.
Yes, sir.
What is my output? If my input is minus Vm, minus Vm, how much? Minus 2. So here draw, put a dotted. Again my input becomes 0. What is your output? Minus. Put a dot here. Now what you need to do? You need to join those dotted like this. Don't draw triangular waveform, draw sinusoidal one. Understandable? Say some clear? So focus here. How will you measure peak to peak voltage? I have done BW lab. What do you mean by peak to peak voltage? Do you know? This is nothing but peak to peak voltage, that is 2 Vm total swing. Focus here. This is my peak, positive peak. This is my negative. Actually, when you are measuring a peak to peak voltage, we will add both the voltages. We won't consider negative. We will add both the voltages. We won't consider the polarity of this. Peak to peak will be measured. We will add both the positive and negative. That is nothing but 2 Vm. So here we have a 2 Vm total swing. Here also we have a 2 Vm total swing. Now what do you understood by this output? What do you understood by this? What is the heading? Negative clamp. So negative clamper will clamp in negative portion. Understandable? Now previously it was here. What we have done? We need to write like this. We have added a negative portion Vm, adding the minus Vm DC level. Understandable? What we have added? If you write like this in bracket, we have added a negative DC level. Vin plus minus of Vm, that is minus Vm DC level. Added a minus Vm DC level. So input has been shifted to negative portion. Understandable? Clear this? As simple as it is. Keep in mind, capacitor will store certain information. It may be any kind of information. Here it is voltage. When it is charges, when it is during forward bias. When the diode is under forward bias, it charges. When diode undergoes reverse bias, it discharges. Though the value of capacitor is maximum Vm only, that will be last for the duration is 3 months, 4 months. It depends on the capacitor. Clear? Say so. Understand? There, the output has been clamped to negative portion. On the second type is positive clamper. So, what you will understand by positive clamper now? You will add a DC level, but your input will be shifted to positive portion. Your input will climb to positive portion. So what do you mean by positive clamper? Same thing. Adding a certain DC level to your AC input, and your input will be shifted. Your input will be clamped to positive portion of the input waveform. Understandable? Now, how will you draw the diagram? As I said, if your topic is or if your heading is positive clamper, you should draw the diagram with negative end of the diode or cathode end of the diode. Negative, positive. Understandable? Say some. And always the resistor should be connected across the diode, and we have a capacitor also. Clear? I will directly explain you the operation. I will take here first negative half cycle. If I take negative half cycle, what will happen? Negative to the negative, positive to the positive. Say sir, if I consider, it is my wish, as being a user I am taking negative half cycle. I am applying the negative half cycle as a input. Negative to the negative, positive to the positive. What will happen to the diode? Diode will be under forward bias condition. When this diode is under forward bias condition, this capacitor will get charged, and it will get charged to the maximum value of input voltage. This capacitor will get charged to a maximum of value of input voltage. What is the maximum value? Vm. Right? It has the characteristics, that is what? Larger time constant. This value will be stored in the capacitor for long time duration, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We are doing the experiment just for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Say sir, to check the output, how it will work. Say sir. So this value will be stored in the capacitor for long time duration, 3 months, 4 months or 5 months, because this capacitor has the characteristics last time constant. So what is the value of Vc now? What is the value of Vc? Now I will change my input to positive half cycle. What will happen to the diode? Positive to the negative, positive to the negative, positive voltage to the negative end of the diode, and negative voltage to the positive end of the diode. What will happen? Diode will be under reverse bias. Under reverse bias condition, this capacitor will discharges. The capacitor is going to discharge. Though the value will be Vm only. The value which is available, which is stored in the capacitor is maximum value of input voltage. That is nothing but Vm. Understandable? During forward bias, capacitor charges. During reverse bias, it discharges. It should be 0, but it not become. This will not become 0 because it has a last time constant. When you see when it is going to discharge, means value should be 0. But the value will not becoming 0 because this capacitor has this characteristics. Understandable? Now what you will do to find out the output? be your output? If you apply KVL, what will happen? V in plus VC plus, because this sentence plus. So input plus VC. V in, what is your VC? What is your VC? Vm. So what I am doing? I am adding the, what is this? Positive DC level. I am adding the positive DC level. Vm level. Clear? Understandable? Now what you need to do? You need to put those values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this equation. If your input is 0, what is your output? Vm. My input is 0, my output is Vm. Put a dot here. Again my input become Vm. What is your output? 2Vm. My output will be 2M. Again my input becomes 0, Vm. Again my input becomes minus Vm. What is your output? Vm minus Vm? 0. Here it is. Again my input becomes 0. What is your output? Vm. Put a dot here. What you need to do? You need to join them. So your output will look like this. Don't draw triangle, draw sinusoidal only. Your output will look like this. What is the total swing? 2M. What is here? Peak to peak? 2M. Peak to peak is 2M. So you need to draw 2VM total swing. So here you need to mention, draw a vertical line and mention that positive Vm DC level added plus Vm DC level has been added. Put a arrow mark and mention that plus Vm DC level added. And the total swing will be achieved here also 2Vm. Understandable? As simple as it is. You need to apply the KVL and you will get the output. If you know this equation, just substitute those values, 5 values, 0, Vm, 0, minus Vm, again 0. Clear? Any doubts? Any queries?